The iPad mini is by far one of my least favorite devices to repair. It isn't inherently difficult, but there are a few traps hidden inside. I'd hazard to say that the engineers who designed this had a few drinks in the process. This next part may seem a bit extreme, but this digitizer flex is in the way. The replacement parts for the iPad mini 1 and 2 include a home button assembly, so permanently removing the old one won't be an issue. I'll grab my tweezers and carefully remove the 2 pieces of spongy adhesive pads covering 2 out of the 4 LCD screws. This adhesive serves no purpose. After that, it's time to remove the 4 screws that hold the LCD in place. One of these is length sensitive, so you have a 25% chance of getting it wrong, or 0% if you keep a good screw map. The slightly longer one goes in the top right corner, in case you forget. Now, here's where the drunken engineers come in. They've placed 2 long strips of single-sided tape on both bottom sides of the LCD. The only purpose of this tape is to intentionally cause inexperienced technicians to shatter the LCD during removal. With one trap disarmed, we will move on to the next trap of removing the display panel. The panel is held down from below with very mild but ever-present adhesive. The battery below is protected by a massive aluminum sheet just in case the glass, adhesive, tape, and 4 screws somehow failed to hold the device in one piece. Apple thought ahead, carefully stabbing a plastic spudger below while keeping my attention on just how precariously this LCD is flexing. Pulling the LCD up and out of the frame, we encounter that metal super shield that is held in by 7 Phillips head screws. Apple really didn't want this iPad falling apart, despite that never having been an issue in the past. I'll remove the 7 Phillips head screws before sliding my plastic spudger underneath the center and lifting it out. Much like the tape from before, this entire shield serves little to no purpose. 3 more Phillips head screws hold a second shield over the battery, LCD, and digitizer connections. Are they all the same size? No, absolutely not. One is longer than the other 2, and installing these out of order can cause irreparable damage to your logic board. Trap 3 has been disarmed. This module here looks yellowed and slightly stained. This is due to the fact that Apple devices lack any kind of heat dissipation from industry standards like copper heat pipes or even graphite pads. The chip has gone from cool to hot so many times that it started to burn. I'm not saying planned obsolescence, but somebody might be. With the shield out of the way, I'll use the plastic pry tool to slowly disconnect the battery before moving on to the LCD connection and finally the intentionally severed digitizer and home button connectors. Now it's time to clean the old adhesive residue from the frame so we can prime it for a new screen. Using a fresh sharp razor blade, I'll carefully work my way around the edges of the frame. Then I'll use some 3M tape primer around the entire housing to help the new adhesive bond securely down. Next, I'll prepare the replacement digitizer. I used to always forget to remove the inner plastic protector before setting the screen down, but I found a trick around that. Using the masking tape holding the connections down as a reminder, and adding another, slightly more subtle, reminder in Sharpie. I'll connect the digitizer and home button connector first, followed by the LCD, and battery connector. Before reassembling any further, it is always a good idea to test functionality. This seems to be working well, and using an iPad like this kind of makes you feel like a wizard. I'll reinstall the giant sheet of aluminum with its 7 screws, then the LCD and its 4 Phillips heads, to keep dust from getting sandwiched between the display and glass, it's always a good idea to wipe or use canned air to clean the LCD. We're in the home stretch now, just need to pull these adhesive covers off, and never forget to remove that inner plastic protector from the digitizer. I'll align the bottom corners of the glass and frame, then firmly press it into place. It's a good idea to use clips or weights to give the tape time to set. This device is repaired and ready to be picked up. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.